Hey, this is Leslie with Comfortable Shoes Studio. Welcome to vlog number 23, Restarting the Walks. One of my goals for my vacation, I'd initially had scheduled from the Thursday before Christmas to the day after New Year's off from work. And my one of my plans for that was to make sure that I was walking every day. I joke around, I call them my doctor prescribed walks. They're really doctor prescribed, but were very strongly recommended that I get moving and walking. And what I'm doing to motivate myself is shooting these weird little videos while I'm doing it, and kind of just like walking to places that I know in my city are interesting. And yeah, so this is my Christmas Day walk, which normally this is a pretty busy section of the city, and there are quite a few cars on the road in the afternoon. But the park where I'm sitting right here for this shot is normally pretty busy. There are people walking through it and sitting around. People going to the train. Way more cars going by. It's normally very busy, and it was not today. So the thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is why I went to grad school. Why pursue an advanced degree in art therapy and then decide not to get my license and to um, not take the test to be a licensed mental health counselor. Um, so multiple reasons. So the whole reason that I initially went to grad school was because I was doing these art journaling classes online, and I had a lot of people taking some of my classes, or who were involved in art journaling. I had quite a few people come to me after they'd taken a class with another person and say, this was really powerful for me, and this class actually actively harmed my mental health. It was something that I had worried about as, we were exploring some of the deeper topics in some of my art journaling groups. Some of the questions that people were asking themselves in their journals was really, really difficult. And the last straw for me was I pulled out the Art Journaling Junkies book, and we decided to do a walkthrough of it together. And that had some very intense questions. It was meant to be a workbook for an entire year. And the questions were really intense questions that you might use in a therapeutic context, um, or you might use it as an adjunct to your own therapy. And so one of the things that I found was, like, as I was doing that work through with people, the numbers dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And when I contacted people were like, "Yeah, those questions in that book are just too intense for me. That's not something that I can do. It's not good for my mental health." So I had this experience where people were like, "Yeah, I can't do those." And then I had people coming to me who had taken classes with other people and saying, yeah, they went way too deep. I felt really triggered all the time. I had to spend a lot of time in my own therapy working on this. And I realized, like, I was kind of leaning down this path of taking people to a place where I didn't know how to help them anymore. Like, certainly I knew how, and I still know how to do art instruction, right? Like, I can do art instruction with relative, not, I don't want to say ease, but I do art instruction and I do it well. And I was also asking myself some pretty intense questions, and also asking some of my students pretty intense questions. And what I found is that was really triggering and upsetting, and not great for a lot of people's mental health. And it didn't feel like what I was doing was safe for my students or for me. So that I started looking into art therapy. I had been interested in psychology in my undergrad. I have an unfinished minor in psych. For my undergrad, I needed literally one class. I needed 3 credits to do it, and I was just like, forget this. I am so done for school. Um, so so anyway, I never finished the minor, but when I started exploring and looking at some of the stuff that was out there for art therapy, there were a number of schools that offered classes, and so I signed up, got in, and quit my job. But the whole point of it was so that I could um, do a better job offering online art classes. That was the whole point of it. The whole point of it was that I needed to understand what was happening with my students when these deeper things happened, because I wasn't able to keep them safe. So that was the large reasoning behind it. And now I've basically abandoned becoming a mental health counselor, or gaining any sort of licensure, because that's not what I went to grad school for. I went to grad school to get the education, and I probably could have done a large amount of that on my own, educating myself, but instead chose to go to grad school. And I think that was the best thing for me. Not financially. Financially, that it was a horrible decision. If I had it to do over again, what I would do is I would go to social work school and get a degree in social work. Um, Basically the same process, rather than becoming a mental health counselor. It's just this. I would have been able to go to a state school for it, rather than the private school that I went to get the art therapy specialization. I would have done those separately. I did it in 3 years anyway, so I could have done the social work in a 2-year stint, or longer while I was working. And I could have done it at a state school for probably a third the price that I actually ended up spending. But anyway, yeah, so the whole point of it was so that I could educate myself and make sure that the people who are taking classes from me were safe, and that I was not doing anything that would harm them, inadvertently harm them. And I think that there are a number of art instructors out there who ask some really deep questions and don't necessarily know that they're doing harm. And I think there are others out there that don't care. But that is a whole separate vlog. And I'm going to just say goodbye and thank you. If you enjoy any of the stuff that I'm putting up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And, if you enjoy it, go to Ko-fi as well. Thanks. Bye.